The city of Breslau has always been shrouded in mists and mysteries, where legend and reality intertwined. On the darkest night, when the moon shone especially brightly, an ancient vampire, Eric, awoke in the depths of ancient ruins. For centuries he had slept, hidden beneath layers of time, until he felt he could emerge into the light again. His body, filled with power, stretched out from the darkness, and his eyes glided over the streets, recognizing the familiar shadows of his city. The air was thick with the scent of stubble and dampness, and cold winds stirred the ominous fog. Eric felt his awakening a harbinger of new troubles. The city seemed to be on a crusade, spurred by the forces of treachery and destruction. He remembered how, centuries ago, he had been a man living here in this very city. Then he had been a blacksmith, and then transformed into an immortal monster, forced to live in the shadows. A thirst for vengeance and protection raged within him, a thin thread he could sense. Now, rising from his long slumber, he knew evil was once again at his door. A challenge had risen in his heart, to confront the ancient dark force that was awakening after centuries of slumber to engulf Breslau. A battle lay ahead, and despite his dark nature, he must choose whom to trust, the light or the darkness. Eric's past was not only years spent in the dark streets of Breslau, but also bitter memories of his human life. He was a simple blacksmith, responsible for weapons and tools. His days were filled with toil and hope for the future. His heart was filled with love for his wife and son. Everything changed one fateful day when the dark forces discovered him and turned him into a vampire. The curse that forever bound him to a long life as a shadow filled him with melancholy and anger. He remembered being taken from his home, how the light faded from his heart, and his hands turned into murder weapons. Centuries passed, and the weight of resentment and loss continued to accumulate within him. But despite all the dark power, a part of him still lived. He felt fear and pain for the past, for his family, for the days when the world was simple and clear. His eyes held a deep sadness, for every step he took was a struggle with the logic of a beast and the memory of a human. Deep down, he hoped to regain his humanity at least once, or at least find a way to atone for his sins. This inner struggle made him far more complex than just a night monster. His heart was not only darkness, but also a subdued flame of hope. Strange things began to happen on the outskirts of the city. People were disappearing, and the shadows of the night were coming to life in terrifying forms. The tavern owner, Anton, a local hunter, had long sensed the approach of danger. He is the only one who hunts not only demonic spirits and bandits, but also ancient creatures that dwell in the shadows. Discovering traces of blood and disappearances, he realizes an ancient evil has awakened in Breslau. It has many names: a vampire, a night shadow, a dark lord. And he knows it is his duty to stop this evil, despite the danger and risk. Anton is a witcher who fears no evil spirits. His weapons are ancient silver and magical spells. He has long studied the history of this city's dark forces and knows that without a fight, his fate is to become another victim of these terrible creatures. He feels he must risk everything to destroy the source of evil, or at least slow its penetration into the city. He doesn't believe in miracles, but he believes in the power of his knowledge and courage. He knows the night is still long, and he will not stand aside while the shadows deepen. One night, in a narrow alley dripping with cold and fear, Eric encounters Maria, a witch who knows much about ancient powers and destinies. Maria is a middle-aged woman with piercing eyes and knowledge that could change the course of events. She knows his true name and senses his inner struggle. In her soul lies the memory of the eternal conflict between good and evil, and she understands that Eric is more than just a vampire, but the key to fighting a force that threatens not only him, but the entire city. Maria warns him, evil is returning and stronger than ever. It is ancient, powerful, and ruthless, and only together can they stand against it. She says she has knowledge and spells that can help. It will require Eric's inner strength as well as his magic. Furthermore, she adds, to defeat the darkness, he must embrace his shadow and understand that there is a light within him that has not yet faded. At dawn in Breslau, everything seems peaceful, but beneath the surface, dangerous interplays of light and shadow lurk. Eric and Maria go to an old abandoned cathedral on the outskirts of the city, a place that holds ancient secrets and magical knowledge. They seek the key to destroying the evil forces returning to the city, and they know that it is here that the most important spells are locked. The cathedral is a gigantic building, covered in vegetation and overgrown with moss. Within, the energy of ancient rituals lingers, and its walls remember the blood, sacrifice, and magic of centuries past. There, they discover treasured books and manuscripts covered in the dust of time. Maria uncovers an ancient scroll, forbidden magic that can help defeat evil, but the price for it is their own power and perhaps their future. Eric feels a shadow awakening within him. He understands that the closer he gets to the truth, the more he realizes that the war against the darkness is not only an external struggle, but also an internal one. He remembers his human side and decides that for the sake of the future, he must become stronger. At that moment, he feels their union growing stronger. This is the beginning of a new battle, the magic of which can change everything or destroy them forever. After the ritual and learning magic, Eric begins to feel a change within. His powers grow, but with them comes the temptation to abandon his humanity. He stands before the mirror and sees not only a vampire, but also the person he once was, with dreams, fears, and hopes. Maria notices the change and warns him, "Your powers are both a gift and a curse. Don't let the darkness consume you. Your heart is most important." Her words trigger an internal conflict in Eric. He understands that he must embrace his shadow to defeat evil, but he also doesn't want to lose himself completely. The world around him becomes more tense. He senses that evil is not asleep, and new threats loom on the horizon. He searches within himself for a source of strength to fight, and every shadow within is a reminder that it is impossible for a person to disappear completely, even in the darkest night. This moment is a turning point. He decides that he can become stronger without losing his humanity, and only in this way can he win the war against the evil approaching Breslau. Strange disappearances begin to occur in the city. People vanish without a trace, their cries lost in the night. Someone, a terrible and invisible enemy, hunts in the shadows. Eric senses that evil has reached its peak and may be behind all these events. He and Maria begin to investigate. They discover traces, blood, magical symbols, clues to ancient rituals. Eric soon realizes that evil is using its servants, dark creatures and souls, trapped in the city's darkest places. And the main enemy is an old creature, an ancient demon that feeds on people's fears. Eric senses he must face this enemy face to face. His inner voice says, only strength and determination can save the city. He arms himself with magic, weapons, and his will. This battle will determine whether he can control his shadow or whether it will consume him. The decisive moment has arrived. Eric and Maria enter the dungeon, a network of tunnels beneath Breslau, rumored to be inhabited by dark creatures serving their enemy. The entire corridor is filled with fear and foreboding. Deep in the tunnels, they encounter a demon, an ancient creature that feeds on fears and horrors. It has the power to destroy everything that remains in the city. Eric feels the darkness tempting him, offering him power in exchange for betraying humanity. During the battle, he uses magical spells and his vampire powers. He understands that to win, he must combine magic, strength, and inner resolve. In the end, he triumphs, but the price is high. He almost completely loses his humanity, and his heart is filled with conflict. After the battle, the city rises from the ruins, but Eric knows this is only the beginning. Power and darkness still await new challenges. He is not only a hunter, but also a guardian of the city, knowledge, and his soul. After defeating the tunnels, Eric and Maria realize that evil hasn't disappeared forever. They begin searching for the source of the evil and discover an old abandoned laboratory beneath the city, a place where dangerous experiments were once conducted by mages and scientists. This laboratory holds the key to how evil returns and gains strength. The laboratory is hidden deep in the underground tunnels, covered in a layer of dust and rust. There they find sealed boxes containing ancient artifacts and manuscripts, writings about magical experiments and failed attempts to control dark forces. Maria guesses that this is where portals and mechanisms were created, allowing spirits and demons to enter our world. Inside the laboratory, Eric finds a specially crafted magical cage, a device that appears to be a trap for entities, or even the key to their release. Horror overwhelms him. The evil discovered through these experiments has used science and magic to strengthen its power. Reflecting, he realizes, to stop evil once and for all, he must destroy or seal these portals. Otherwise, it will burst into the city again. The meeting in the laboratory adds a profound sense of seriousness. The fight is not only against enemies, but also against the causes of their existence. It dawns on him that evil can only be defeated by destroying its source, no matter how terrible the cost. Having discovered crucial evidence, Eric and Maria face betrayal. According to locals, a man has appeared in the city, promising power and protection in exchange for loyalty to the evil forces. This is Heinrich, Eric's former friend who disappeared many years ago. Heinrich has become engrossed in dark rituals, collaborating with demons to gain power and become immortal. He sees Eric as an obstacle and Maria as a potential tool for his own ends. A sudden, treacherous blow to Eric leaves him gravely wounded and devastated. Heinrich tries to persuade Eric to join evil, promising him power that will surpass everything he has achieved. But the protagonist understands that betrayal is a test of his will and resolve. He fights his inner dark impulses, strengthening his will and remembering the past, his human side, to avoid giving in. Through torment and suffering, he decides he will not allow the darkness to prevail, even if it means dying. This becomes a turning point. He chooses his humanity and inner strength to confront the traitor and exploit his weaknesses. After fighting Heinrich, Erich and Maria learn of the final threat, an open gate through which the darkness could completely penetrate the city and destroy all life. This gate is a magical barrier between worlds, located on an ancient hill where knowledge was once consecrated. They decide to close the gate, but to do so, they must perform a powerful magical ritual. It's a risky and dangerous process, requiring complete concentration and strength. Danger lurks within. Evil spirits and creatures guarding the gates are attacking them. Erich faces an inner fear, for he has countless deaths and dark decisions behind him. He feels that one wrong step and everything will collapse. Time is limited. The longer he delays, the greater the chance that evil will penetrate the city. In the final scene, as he utters the words of the spell, a struggle rages within him. Will he endure to seal the evil away forever? Finally, he musters all his will and magical power to tear the gate apart, shattering the space between worlds. With a final breath of magic and effort, the resistance is overcome. The gate closes, and the dark threat dissipates. After the battle ends, all seems peaceful, but a heavy feeling lingers within Erich. He has lost a part of his humanity, and his shadow will forever be with him. The city is rebuilt, people are returning to life, and the memory of terrible battles still lives in the hero's heart. Maria tells him, "You won, but the price was high. Your shadow is a part of you, and you must learn to live with it." Erich understands that the fight against darkness is not only an external confrontation, but also an internal choice. To fight for one's soul, no matter what. He decides to remain in Breslau as its protector and guardian. His heart is filled with hope and determination. Even in the darkest times, there is room for light. He knows that evil does not disappear completely, and that many trials still lie ahead. But now he is ready for them. Erich becomes not only a vampire, he is still a man, fighting for the light in the heart of his dark nights. Erich learns that the evil hidden within and around the city is ready to return in its most terrifying forms. The Lightstone, though it has strengthened the defenses, is not eternal, and the dark forces are awakening before the final assault. All the allies gather in the center of the city: Maria, Luca, and the new heroes who have endured their trials and found faith. They know this is their last chance. If the enemy breaks through, all is lost. The evil manifests itself in the form of a massive shadow demon, capable of destroying all life. Its magic literally consumes light, casting the city into utter darkness. The battle is not only physical, but also spiritual. Many heroes fight for their destiny and faith in the light. Erich, overflowing with inner strength and hope, faces the demon face to face. A struggle rages within him as the shadow seeks to take him over. But thanks to the power of the Lightstone, he finds his last source of energy, his faith and love for humanity. At the final moment, he uses all his magical and inner strength to seal the demon and destroy the gates of darkness. The light returns and evil dissipates, finally defeated. As the dark clouds disperse, dawn appears, a symbol of a new beginning. The city is restored, and the people feel a surge of hope and gratitude. Eric is a hero, a personification of the idea that even in the darkest times there is light. He watches the sunrise, realizing that his mission is complete. The shadow within him no longer threatens. It has become part of his strength and wisdom. He no longer fears his duality, having learned to accept himself. Maria and Luca remain by his side, helping to rebuild the city and its inhabitants. And Eric feels that he is now not only a protector, but also a mentor for future generations. At that moment, he truly understands. The most important thing is to preserve the light within and remember that even the darkest nights give way to dawn. Several months pass, and the city begins a new life. Eric decides to leave magical battles behind and devote himself to training young mages and protectors. He understands that evil can always return, and he is ready for new challenges, but with the certainty that his strength and faith are stronger than any darkness. Maria plans to leave for another place to share her knowledge and help others. Luca remains with them, continuing to seek out new secrets of magic and protect the city. Before parting, they instill in each of their hearts the ability to fight for the light, even in the most difficult moments. Their farewell is not sadness, but inspiration for the future. Eric looks to the future with joy and peace, knowing that his mission continues, even if he is not always in sight. He is one of those who hold the light in the darkness. A quiet dawn, a symbol of endings and beginnings. Eric stands on the hilltop, looking out over the city filled with life, and feels warmth within. His heart is full of peace and gratitude. He trusts the future and understands. The light within each of us is our greatest shield, and only we choose how to strengthen it. Everything will end, and a new life will begin, where shadow and light walk together, helping each other grow. And finally, Eric smiles, because he knows, even in the darkest nights, there is a dawn that will surely come.